righty, so we are back with you for another commentary segment here on Activated Mornings program on WEFM. It's the Friday edition. Hey, hey, hey. All right.
My mind telling me to bust a freestyle, and I gotta love it. I gotta love it. I gotta love it.
Your freestyle, you need to write them down first before you come on the people that airways.
It's because I'm not putting effort into it. I'm bad with my freestyle, and I'll just be joking around. I'm the one that said that. I'm a self-proclaimed freestylist.
All right, ma'am. All right, ma'am. All right. All right. So let's quickly get into this topic. Yet again, as we've come across in the news, that another male whose body was in an advanced state of decomposition was found on Wednesday. All right. So for the persons, it was right in the morning news, but I just thought it was important to bring this up because yet again,
another man,
Loon. He's 48 years old now. Because of my age, I would not say that 48 is old. I will not say that, it's closer to senior citizens' age. I would not say that because my age isn't too far behind. But he's a 48-year-old man who was found, and it was as a result of a resident smelling a foul odor. Why it is that they went to investigate, and upon investigation, they found that he was there decomposing. All right. And again, people, it does bring again into question, do we look out for our men? Now, he's 48 years old, so he's not old, right? He's definitely not old. But if a woman is not seen, or if we don't recognize, or we don't see signs of activity, that as citizens, we tend to go looking. Mm-hmm. But this man was already in an advanced state of decomposition, and it was only until then that the resident was smelling an odor that they went and looked for him, right? And I think, again, the only reason why I'm bringing it up again is because we need to do a little bit better as a society, all right? For me, I observe daily movements of my neighbors, right? Not macroing, it has absolutely nothing to do with macroing. But daily activity. If a neighbor isn't home, but one of my neighbors in particular, if she is, I don't see the vehicle by a certain time, I will call to find out if she's okay. I will look to see if the vehicle has moved for the day. I would peep on her house, right? I mean, it's all of them, but I think for her it's a little bit different. But for all of them, we kind of observe activities, we observe things. Is a window open? Has a light been put on for maybe a day or two, or whatever the case situation is? We have to do a bit better, and we have to do better by the men in our society. All right. That's
a charge to me as well, because I don't be looking at my neighbors. In fact, Serious? I don't even be outside, Roleza. My neighbors will probably tell you they don't know when I'm home and when I'm not home, because I'm always inside. I don't keep my door open. Well, I don't keep my door open for several reasons. One, I can't stand flies, and I'd rather suffocate in there than have a fly inside. So I don't keep my doors open, and I don't go out on my porch. I would probably just go outside, stand up, have a look, and then go back inside. If anything, I go to the back of the house. But I'm not a looking out kind of neighbor. So I definitely have to start doing a little better.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is that I'm not advocating to be all up in your neighbor's business. But I mean, look at the case of it's you and your son, and sometimes your son isn't always there. So who's looking out for you?
That's true. That is very true as well. I know my landlord, well, more so the husband. It's a husband and wife, but the husband sails, so he's not usually here. Mm-hmm. But when he's here, he and my son, they have a good relationship, so he would normally help to look out for him and so on. But Tyler's the kind of person, if he needs something, he would just go to somebody. Mm-hmm. But I would probably not do that. He would be bold and just go. Yeah.
So my question
like when he went to look for the sugar.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But then again, my question comes back, who's looking out for you?
I don't know.
It's just you and God?
Yep.
All right. I could say, fortunately for my community, it's not quite like that. Because even I never tell you a story from a distance when a neighbor asked, say they didn't see my light on for a while.
No.
I do it, tell them it's the wrong house. I have to be looking at. But yeah, so even I have even neighbors on the opposite side, because it's a hill facing a hill. They would know when it is I'm getting ready to go to work, when I'm leaving to go to work, and that sort of thing. So they would see these signs of activity. If it's not just my immediate neighbors, the other neighbors on the other side of the hill would see. So, I mean, many of us know the composition in terms of households, in terms of how many persons make up a household. You will know whether it's just a woman who lives by herself, or a woman and her child or her children, or a man who's living by himself. So we really do have to do better as a society. All right?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, Trevor. No, Trevor, I am not trying to be older. Yes, I do know that my physique doesn't give my age, but I have to make the distinction before. It's one of the interesting things when you walk in the road sometimes, and the young guys are not sure what my age is. And sometimes I feel like put on a t-shirt say I'm an auntie, not a shorty. All right.
And somebody might say, "Oh, we don't care."
That was true. That's very true.
The older the berry, okay.
All right. So let's head into another story that also involves a man. We're going to be short with these segments. With this particular segment. So a man accused of threatening to kill his mother has been freed without a trial. So Spring Village man, or Spring Village in Georgetown, that is this time around, right, who was arraigned on the 17th of February on 2 counts of threatening his mother, has been freed of the charges without a trial. So Glenroy Providence, 54, had pleaded not guilty to the charge when he appeared before Magistrate Kiwana Jacobs at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. All right. He threatened, he said, "I must kill you in that beep house here." He was further charged that on the same date in the public place to wit, Spring Village Public Road, he told Spring, which is his mother, I must kill you in that house thing. All right. Providence, who had told the court that his mother was going senile, and asked that he stand his own bail. All right. So his mother actually withdrew the charges. She did not want to go further. And as a result of that, the charges were dropped, right? Now, what stood out for me in this situation is not even so much him threatening his mother, but the fact that his mother is going senile. And part of me wondered if it's a case of him not knowing how to handle situations with her and regarding the challenges of her as she is getting older and as she is not the mother who he may have known of yesteryear, right? And there are times when I see these type of stories. So yes, of course, threatening his mother is a bad thing, all right? I always say if you cannot live with your parents, the best thing to do is to move out, all right? So that you don't have this tension, you don't have any sort of back and forth or throwing word or, that kind of thing. You don't have that sort of tension. But in this case, I think one of the important things to recognize in this story is that his mother is going senile. And it makes me wonder if he is finding it challenging to relate to his mother in her current state.
That is really possible, because when you think about older folks going through those stages, it's really not easy to deal with. I can't even tell you how to deal with that, even though I've had some sort of experience. So it definitely can be frustrating. I'm glad you looked at it from that perspective as well. It may very well be possible.
Yeah. And I think maybe this is one of the cases, because I know that even, fully educated persons, professionals, etc., when they have challenges with their parents getting older, they don't know how to deal with the situation. They get frustrated, etc. Much less to somebody who isn't as well equipped, Do we have these type of public?
And then it's a man. And man, I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like I'm beating up on you, but you know how it go, our emotions and feelings and men versus women, how we deal with things, our nature versus yours. So it's a man, which probably makes it a little bit worse. He really, really can't relate. Probably really can't relate to her.
Yeah. And I suppose in this case, maybe what it needs is either maybe the intervention of the community, again, going back to the initial conversation, the intervention of the community, if they can step in to help to assist, or maybe other family members or somebody else has to take up the responsibility of possibly taking care of this mother, because if it's just him alone, or I'm not sure if he lives in the household, but, if it's just him and his mother, or he's one of the members within the household, it's not going to get easier as the time goes by. So these are some of the topics that we really and truly have to discuss as a nation in terms of the topics of getting older. How do we as children handle our parents getting older? Have we made plans? Have the parents even considered what should your children do with you when you start to get to those particular stages? Both parties, as in the parent and the children, do they need to have to sit down and maybe have advanced counseling in terms of how to go about situations like these? So it was just something there that I thought was of interest, and just wanted to highlight it there. All right. So
I think most people, from conversations that I've heard, older persons or persons with older persons, I think most of the times they usually talk about their funeral, how they'd like their funeral to be, if they want a particular song, what clothes they want. But these other topics, they don't touch.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is we're preparing for death, but there are so many stages before preparing for death. So yeah, we do have to have the conversations. All right, so let's take that call quickly. All right. Hey, I believe it's Mr. Mason. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mason.
How are you both?
We're good. And you?
Yeah, not bad. I'm just saying, I enjoyed your music yesterday. I think you did play a tune for me.
I wonder which song that was.
I can't remember it. Always was very nice. Well, when I come on here, I talk more personal things about myself, like true stories and the experience, And if you think I'm getting over there, you can tell me, but I just enjoy talking about these things that now I'm going to talk about visiting America. I left England in 1997 to visit some family in America. When I got there, my niece picked me up at the airport the Sunday afternoon. The Monday morning, I said to my sister, right, I'm going up the street. She said, be careful, be careful. And I said to her, I should look up from a big country. Anyway, I went out the street. I kept walking around, and I thought, I started feeling a bit uncomfortable. And the reason for this was, all the buses go by, all black people. I went into a shop, all black people. I went to the bank, and I couldn't see not a white person inside. So I got back, and I said to my sister, what's going on out there? I haven't seen any white people. She said, this is what they call the black neighborhood. Now, in England, it doesn't matter. You could have a high population of black, but it's always mixed, black and white, black and white, black and white. So when I didn't see any white people, I thought to myself, I don't like this. So just imagine, here I am, a black man, but wanting to see white people. Right. As I'm in America, I don't want to take too long, but as I'm in America, I'll give you a little example here now about myself. Now, there's this black guy. His name Montel Williams. You probably heard about him, or you probably seen him on his television. He had his television talk show. And that show normally comes off in England on a Monday afternoon. I really liked it. So I said to my niece, I said I would like to meet Montel, My niece rang up the studio, explaining that her uncle is down from England, and he would like to meet Montel. They sent her 4 tickets with the date and time to come on the show. Now, my sister and niece lived in Brooklyn, but the show is in Manhattan. We got there in the morning, and we got there before Montel. As the usher coming around to show us our seat, I said to her, can you get me close to Montel? Well, there wasn't any vacant seat. When Montel arrived, I was sitting around the middle of the audience. they have to point a finger themselves to me and to signal me to come down to the front. So I sat next to Montel. When he came in, he said, right before the program starts, is there anyone with any questions? I stood up and I asked him a couple of questions. The program started that morning was mother-in-law interfering in their son's marriage, especially if they did not like the son's wife. You know, anyway, that went on. And you wouldn't believe it, in about 3 months' time after that, I went back to England. All of a sudden, I'm sitting watching the television, and there I was standing. My phone started ringing that evening non-stop. People who watching the program said, man, I saw you on the television in America. Now, this lady, she called me and said, by the way, have you been to America? I said, yes. She said she and her husband was looking at the program. They were positive that the person was me, who they were looking at. But the husband said, oh, that's an American show. So she called to make sure to find out from me. So you see, I've been around. Sometimes when I come on here, sometimes I come to speak about something, but so much things in my head that when I got on here, I changed my subject. So once you don't get impatient with me, I shall come on whenever I can and give a little background and so on and so forth. Now, Mr. Gibson, who is the butcher at Grande, I know he listens to the program. Mr. Gibson, if you're listening, being a big butcher, next week, hopefully, I shall ask you a question. Nothing frightening. Don't get worried. Nothing frightening. But Miss Talia,
Hi.
you'll enjoy what the question that I'm going to ask Mr. Gibson.
Because it related to food, not true?
I'll ask him if he cut your pork. If he cut your pork for you.
All right, we'll see what happens next week then.
Anyway, yeah. Well, as you know, as usual, as this Friday, my greetings to you for the weekend. Enjoy yourselves, and as I always want, don't get booze. Don't you get booze. All right.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Mason.
All the best.
To you too. Thanks. All right. Any final thoughts, Dianna?
Well, I just read this troublesome person's comment and lose my train of thought. Where were we before? No, I don't think I have anything more. Oh, we were talking about the neighbors and looking out for your neighbors, but I think that was it for me.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we are going to head on out of this segment at this time, and we'll be back with more Activating Mornings here on WEFM.